Hi folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, I really like to start with something that I've experienced because I can explain it so much more clearly and maybe with emotion that I feel. And the first day of bass season, I had not only a fantastic first day of bass fishing, but maybe the best bass fishing I've ever had in a day in my life, and I'm not kidding you, and I've had some unbelievable experiences. My buddy Rust and I went to it's a pretty small lake, but it's still big enough where you can't cover the whole thing in a day or two of fishing. And it's in the foothills of the Adirondacks in our area, but one that I don't want to put too much pressure on. But I got to tell you, we caught so many beautiful smallmouth and largemouth bass. They were together, and they seemed to be every place. Now, we had a special lure that seemed to work the best. It was a fluke. I've talked about a fluke before. If you don't know what a fluke is, you can look it up. You can look up a picture of it. But it's a soft plastic bait, 5 inches long. Several companies make them, but the key to this is if you hook it in Texas style, where the point of the hook is buried, and this is what you have to do. You can cast it right onto shore, into heavy cover. You can cast it just about any place. It starts to sink slowly, and as soon as you move the rod tip, that lure will go from side to side. Well, here's something interesting we found. While both bass seem to love the fluke, the smallmouth bass really did. So we had a time when Rust was using a soft plastic worm, the same length and pretty much the same coloration as the fluke that I was using, and yet I was catching 3 or 4 times as many smallmouth bass because the smallmouth were reacting more to it. They weren't reacting to the worm as much, cast in the same locations, the same kind of cover. And I thought this was fascinating. It's something that we didn't realize before, that smallmouths, at least on this day, really keyed in on the action that fluke makes as it darts from side to side going through the water. Now, we caught them on other things. The other lure that I used that, honest to goodness, it was amazing, was a pink and yellow bucktail jig. I've talked about this before. 1/8 ounce. And there was a period of time when on 10 or 12 consecutive casts, I caught a smallmouth bass. Every cast, and they were all beauties. We'll say very conservatively 2 to 3 pounds. And that's a really nice smallmouth, especially from inland lakes. But it was just a wonderful day. It's a day that I'll remember. And again, what is it that you remember so much about these days? I think it was that I could be with a friend. By the way, Russ can cast so much more accurately than me, and that was the other thing that came from this. If you can cast within an inch, and I mean an inch right now, of shore, and the other person, namely me, can't, ends up casting maybe a foot from shore, the person casting a foot from shore, if those fish are oriented along the shore, they're not going to come out a foot. But they will come out if something's almost hitting them in the nose. And so casting accuracy played a great role. But the fact that I could be there with my friend, we could enjoy something together, and it meant so much to both of us. Russ said to me, he said, "I think this is the greatest day bass fishing we've ever had." And I said, I really believe that too. So we left there. We don't know when we'll get a chance to go back. The fishing will never be quite the same again because every week conditions change in the life, not just of the fish, but of the people that fish them and all the other birds and animals around. But boy, it's something that I'm just thrilled to pass on. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report.